I don't know if you remember Christian and Laura from Slam from back in the day. Christian Drake and his then girlfriend, Laura Swearingen Steadwell. She wasn't around you a ton, but we were dating while they were in the scene. And on my 33rd birthday, right after we broke up and you moved to Kentucky, we all went out for drinks in DC. And I was still real hurting. And Laura took me to the side and she said something that would be echoed repeatedly by friends of mine for years. She said about you, he's cool, but he's not good. I have not had an ex about whom so many people have pointedly said he is not a good person. And I will be honest, there is a very selfish mechanism that tells you do not want to believe that someone you had been truly in love with is not a good person, and you do not want to believe that the first person you'd been in love with and the first person to consensually have sex with you is not a good person. You feel like it's on you. And I'll tell you, Jordan, if I was more willing to have believed that about you, it would not have taken 12 years to fully process the gravity of what you did to me. I want to be clear because I don't want you to gain any ground to let yourself off the hook in any kind of way. Because the fact is, in the 7 months since I first reached out to you in December, I have been in serious therapy. And I have been pointedly addressing every lingering trauma that has holding me back for all these years. I come to you with different and renewed energy and faith in and love for myself. Which is to say, you will feel a shift if we never speak again. And I assume that is the direction it will go because I know how you respond to any feedback you don't want to hear, even when it is true. And I have told you nothing that is not true. I am not afraid of my anger. I do not feel like it is my fault to have these feelings about someone who was horrifically callous and selfish and cowardly with me. Jordan, the idea that you could look at emails to you in which I told you that the reason that I tried to address things with you was because you made me so uncomfortable in my own bed. The idea that you could be told that and never be concerned enough to ask for details. You didn't even try to apologize. You apologized for how you reacted to my email from before, but not for assaulting me and then ignoring me, treating me like I was the person who had caused harm. You had the gall and lack of self-awareness to tell me how bad it felt to be hearing these words from me in the car the next day. I challenge you, Jordan. Tell me what words you even remember hearing. Isn't it interesting that you were too drunk to remember what you did or what happened? You were blackout, but you could apparently clearly hear whatever you thought that I was saying to you, but somehow you were not coherent enough to hear me saying words like unsafe, like boundaries. How much have you normalized a complete lack of consent in your sexual relationships, Jordan? I have carried that for 12 years. The fact not only could you not be bothered to be concerned with your state of sobriety before getting into bed with me, but that you could not be bothered to listen to me when I tried to tell you what you did. The idea that you would tell me that in a 7-year friendship, that it was too much for you to try and tell me what you were going through and how you felt about what I said to you is so hurtful and insulting, and truly it's disgusting. One of many truly disgusting things that you have done within this relationship. If you think that it was hard for you to hear words that you did not want to hear, if you think that you spent a lot of time feeling awful, think about what it was to have to get into my own car to go have a happy little morning at a farmer's market with the man who just assaulted me. With the man who I trusted, who got drunkenly into my bed and tried to rip my clothing off of me when I told him no. Pushed me against the bed when I told him no. Held me to the wall when I told him no. And I still tried. I tried so hard. And for nothing. Today I sent 2 messages. One to Lamont and one to Jason. In both, I told them exactly what you did to me and how it affected me. I called out the fact that I'm certain that if you told them any version of the story, it was not complete and it was not the truth. And that is an indignity that is so unfair for survivors to suffer. That lack of control of our narratives, our stories, and our reputations, them being put into the hands of our assailant, and you, Jordan Sanford, are my assailant. Like, I think about that morning, and if I had gotten to the state of mind where I was able to say to you, Jordan, a few months ago, one of the worst things happened to me, and I'm still having a horrible time processing it. And with it has come a wave of awful things that have been haunting me and changing how I think about my past and myself and my family and everything about my identity. I wonder if I had said those things to you in terms of why I was trying to confront you about your behavior, if it would have made a difference. And I think it may have. But why? Why would I ever have had to have? Within a 7-year friendship in which I had really put out a lot for you. Like, I think about the fact that you asked me for grace when I reached out to you. You, the person who assaulted me, asked me for grace, and I've always been the one handing you grace. And so what I said to Jason at the end was, and I hate that I believe that this is incredibly likely, because it's so hard for me to believe that you've changed as a person and can still be doubling down on something objectively terrible. Take a look at those old messages between us on Facebook, Jordan. Look at the things that you said to me, what you leveraged against me, and reread those going, what he was talking about was me assaulting him. Like, you treated this like this was such a juvenile situation, and you threw yourself into something incredibly grown, and you were not ready to handle it. And I became your collateral damage, and that is not all right. So I'm grateful that starting tomorrow, all the energy that I put into worrying and to wallowing and to staying very, very inert, I put that into being public and into making art. I know what my one-man show is about. I know what my manuscript is, and I'm grateful that I have a lot of content from you. It makes it more irrefutable. There's no one, I wonder if this makes a difference. There's no one who I've told, no licensed therapist, no person who did or didn't know you. There's no one who I have ever said, this ex of mine called me. I came and got him. I hung out with him. I fed him. We hung out with my friends. We lay in bed and watched television. And when I came back to my room, he began trying to undress me, even when I told him to stop. He began holding me down when I asked him not to. I had to leave the room and wait for him to fall asleep. When I tried to speak to him the next day about it, he turned away, gave me one-word answers, and disappeared. He admitted later to knowing that he planned to stop speaking to me. He admitted later to being so blackout drunk that he really didn't know what happened. By the way, I have to call bullshit. I reread those messages today because it's going to be the last time, you know? You literally told me that not only did you sometimes get so blackout drunk that you not only forget what happened, but when it happened. So you weren't really sure what I was talking about. The fuck out of here. Get the whole fuck out of here. Because one, that's beyond not credible. Two, that's the level of uncertainty you were willing to double down on? You were willing to never speak to me again? Jordan, I don't know why losing your estranged mother, who alienated you from most of your entire family for years, did not inspire any growth or change or self-reflection in you. I don't know what thinking that you may lose your partner or your own life. I do not know how those did not cause you to reflect on how you treat other people. But I suppose that it's in the same way that you were not able to hear, that you were incorrect about what you thought of me and said to me in that moment. I was not responding to nothing. I was not making something up. I was responding to a thing that you did and were not responsible enough to control yourself or to remember doing. If you're not able to have the self-reflection to go, holy shit, if I was able to blame him for that thing that was actually my doing, I wonder in how much of our previous relationship I was doing that too. I wonder how many times that I gave him so much shit about being so mean for no reason. I wonder how many times I was actually really hurting him and I would not listen when he tried to tell me. I'm going to leave you with, I think, the statement that you deserve and have earned. It is one of those maddening statements that is left open-ended, so it is allowed to be both blessing and curse. I hope that you get everything that you have earned in this life.